Welcome back, welcome back, welcome Black. This is in Black America Radio with your host, Rasta B. It's June 23rd, 2017. Today's show title is called The Compromise of 2020. And this show is dedicated to the brother Prodigy from Mobb Deep, HNIC, Queensbridge finest. You know, even though I'm a Brooklyn dude, but still New York. And the show, this show will be, I can't remember what the words I used to say back in the day when I used to say this, but so I'm just going to say something. But this show is, I will be under the influence of Barcardi Limon, like this is the 90s again. So that's that. Guest calling number, 646-716-4654. We're going to be talking about, like I said, the Compromise of 2020. That's just a playoff of the Compromise of 1877, which I'm going to read up on. And I'm going to break down why I'm calling it the Compromise of 2020. We're going to talk about, like I said, again, R.I.P. Prodigy. We're going to talk about R.I.P. to Peter Tosh's son. We're going to speak on this Polight Trannygate story I stumbled upon. Apparently, there's a whole lot of shit going on, but I don't really mess with these other guys that try to talk a lot of this Black Power stuff because I realize that they're reactionary people. They're into a lot of that foo-foo-la shit, and I really can't get down with that. And then we're going to talk about the police killing black men, getting off. We're going to talk about the black cop that got shot by the white cop, and Trump talk, and a whole lot of other shit. So, again, you know, the guest calling number 646-716-4654. But before we do anything, let me go ahead and bring in my co-host, Smoke. Smoke, are you there?
Yo, what's good? What's goody? I'm the baby.
Shit, man, what's good, y'all?
Another Friday, you know what I'm saying, man? Everything is everything. It's been a crazy week, man, you know what I'm saying?
If it's a crazy week, let's run through the crazies because I want to make sure we have enough time to go through the shit. You know what I mean? So let's run down this week.
Yeah, it's been a crazy week, man. I mean, like you mentioned, you know, in the intro, I see you switched the title. Oh, I thought you switched the title, but yeah, damn, Prodigy, man, that shit was crazy. Brother dead at the age of 42, you know, passed away. You know, it was on Father's Day, from my understanding. So that's crazy, you know what I mean? It's like, it like, for like the, like, I ain't gonna front, like the last.
Wait,
like,
that was crazy to you? It's crazy to you that was on Father's Day? You know what's crazy to me? Is that the choking on the egg story.
I saw that. I didn't even click on that shit, man. I was just like, come on. Come on, man. That shit is crazy. TMZ, man, fucking bastards. Yeah,
So,
you know what I'm saying? So, but like the last couple months, I just been listening to Mad Mobb Deep. You know what I mean? Like I've been listening to the album with Quiet Storm. Like that's like my favorite Prodigy song. The Quiet Storm without Little Kim, just him rhyming. It was on Murder Music album. That's like one of my favorite Prodigy joints. Like he's my son going off on that. So I've been listening to that album and that song for like the last 2 months. You know, that's an old album. And this is like I saw that, I was like, come on, man, that's crazy.
Ain't shit to listen to, so you got to go back to the classics. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We're not the 70s and shit, so we're not going back to Donny Hathaway and shit like that. We're going back to fucking Jigga, Mob, CNN, you know what I'm saying, Nori, Pun. You know what I'm saying? If you're up top, if you're down top, to the other shit. Nas, son. I have my gunshot right out of the top.
Silent hate.
You know
Silent hate.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. So, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, Prodigy, you know what I'm saying? Then you know, shout out to the brother, you know what I'm saying? Rest in paradise, you know.
Rest in power, man.
And so forth.
Word.
So now, crazy to me is running across that Polight tranny shit. Did you hear about that?
Nah, I ain't hear that.
Yo, you need a computer?
Oh, you already. I'm back in full swing right now.
But check it. Let me tell you how I stumbled on it, right? So I'm just listening to shit, right? Because I'm trying to write this book or whatever. Yeah, I'm trying to try my hand at writing a book or whatever, trying to get the show together. So I'm listening to the news, like clips or whatever, and reading up on Yahoo and stuff, and Bing and whatever other stuff I'll look at. And then, but I'm on YouTube trying to talk and listen to something. And then as I click on it, on the right-hand side of the suggested boxes, I see Happy's death wasn't unexpected because of the way he lives his life. So I'm like, oh, shit, Poppy died? The nigga from the African Bambaataa shit? So I said, yo, let me go see what the... So then as I'm typing it in, I'm realizing, no, it can't be Poppy because that shit do say Pappy. So then I look and I said, oh, this is some Chicago shit. All right. So then I come across something else and the shit goes, Polight Trannygate. I'm like, what?
I'm seeing all this shit right now.
Yeah, I thought it was clickbait shit. I thought that shit was some clickbait shit, right? So I'm about to say, hey, somebody about to get a click from me, I guess, whatever it's called, however it works, right? Yeah. So I'm listening to this shit. I'm like, wow, niggas on that.
I didn't realize you said that in the beginning. Polite.
Yeah.
So now you
like
saying
good
it,
nature. Look, Polight is in good nature, as in no. This is the dude, the one that everybody like to listen to with the food, the king of the fufula. You know what I'm saying? Polight is king of the fufula. You know what I'm saying? And just like I say to black people, when it comes to, and you know what's sad? It's sad I even have to say this, but when it comes to being black people, you don't have to buy into being black. You don't have to study to be black. You dig what I'm saying? You was born black, even if you don't know who you are. Who you are know who you are. You know what I'm saying? All you got to do is catch up. How you catch up? You got to understand who you are. That's it. Learn you. Don't learn about no fucking King Tut and niggas from BC and AD. Because this is my attitude, right? And I follow like with the Jay-Z line. You was who you was before you got here, right? If you believe in the concept that we the original people, and you believe in the concept that we created this and we mapped the universe and all of that, then do it again. Do it again. Yeah. Stop crying about some shit. You see, because this is my whole shit. If I'm sitting over here now and see, because I grew up as a Nyabingi Rasta, so there were certain things that was always ingrained in me that I'm ingrained in my boys. You see what I'm saying? So me, I always knew that being black, your duty is to uplift your race. Your duty is to fight in this war that we in, right? So I remember one time reading the Bible growing up, because we did read the Bible, and I'm start thinking to myself, well, like, God damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe these white people are the chosen people. Maybe they are chosen by God, and maybe black people is the devil. And then I said, then my pro-blackness kicked in. And it was like, well, even if we are the devil, then we're supposed to kick God's ass. I never have an ideology of blacks being less than. So if you really believe that, and you believe that we're the original people, then you don't have to study. You don't have to call on no fucking ancestors. Because just like I said in previous shows, if calling on your ancestors work, if praying to these damn gods work, if doing libation and all this other shit work, then we would have never been slaves. I mean, that's, to me, is common sense. You know, if I wake up every day and I go to work, and every 2 weeks I get a check, and then that check I pay my mortgage, and then my mortgage ensures that for that month I'll be staying here with no harassment. If every time I work and that happens, then I understand that, you know what I'm saying, that's me working is what's going to allow this to happen.
Right.
But me working cannot allow me to keep my mortgage. Then that working shit ain't working. It ain't working. We sitting down over here talking foo-foo la. And the reason why we talk that because we scared of reality. So we rather stay in the matrix where we feel like we winning. But in reality, we getting our ass kicked. You dig what I'm saying? Just like when it comes to the situation, Smoke, with the brother Castile getting murdered, right, by the police. We got another case we're waiting on. This is the second mistrial, jury deadlock in Ohio cop murder retrial. Because, like I said, I'll go back to that polite shit. I ain't got time for that shit. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got time for that shit right now. Because what's really going on with black people is real life shit going on right now. Niggas get caught up in people's personality really because they wish they was them. But when you got knowledge of self and you know who you are, yo, now Smoke, remember when I told you, you know me since young. I've always been a Jay-Z fan. Quote Jay-Z shit, all that shit, right?
No, tell me about
it. Remember that time when we started fucking with the whole stocks and shit like that? I'm buying, let me continue. I'm buying a magazine. If Jay-Z on the cover, I'm buying a magazine. You see what I'm saying? Just because the nigga on the cover type shit. You know what I'm saying? I like to read up on what the nigga doing type shit, right? Boom. Remember when I started fucking with the stocks? And I told you that day I walked into the store and I seen the cover of Jay-Z on there, and I was just like, yeah, all right. And I said, I didn't even want to buy this shit, because then I'm like, yo, I just feel like, nigga, I know how to get bread now. You know what I'm saying? Before, I'm not looking up, because I don't want to sound like I'm a following type dude, but certain people you see making moves, you want to watch these moves. You know what I'm saying? Because a good move is always a good move. So I'm looking at Jay-Z dude, I'm like, yo.
He was an inspiration. He was an inspiration, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, once you grasp a hold of, you know, how you want to do it, or at least understand how to do it, you know, build an empire, so to speak, you know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, it ain't really an inspiration no more. You understand, you know, that you know that was your reason for following him, you know what I'm saying, the music and, you know, the fact that he's making business moves. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we could always have that, ain't sure.
Look, let me tell you what's inspiration. And from Brooklyn, and grew up with no father, and both our birthdays in December. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I was like, shit, yo, I'm fucking with Jigga. I'm going to follow, like the nigga said, follow my steps to the road to success. I'm peeping these shits. That's how I move. Once I start getting into the stock shit, I said, okay, I got how to get this bread now. You see what I'm saying? Then you go. I'm not gonna keep listening and let me keep looking at the steps that Jay-Z make. For what? Now I have an understanding of the steps I can make to do my shit now. You see what I'm saying? But niggas don't do that. No. Just to go back to the polite shit, we don't do that. We want to idolize niggas and we want to be them. That's why we can never. That's why you see people always stay attached to people, and it's like, why you never grew away where you can stand on your own? Because they don't want to stand on their own. They want to be that person. Now go ahead, Smoke.
Yeah, I mean, because that's how it's designed. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's the hustle. You know what I mean? these cats, you know, they reach a certain point where it's like they doing it and they need to turn money, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, like just speaking specifically to the Polight shit, you know what I'm saying? At least from how it looked, it's like in the beginning you doing your shit, blah blah blah. Now you make the money, and then you know you got pictures of the trannies, you got the, you know what I'm saying? You got all this crazy shit going on, but inside of that is a hustle. You know what I'm saying? They got a hustle to get to wherever. You know what I'm saying? You can't knock him for getting the money. If you're using the hustle, it's just you know what I mean. So it's like
no, but look. What are transvestites? Let's keep it all the way a buck. What is transvestite? That's lower. That's no. That's lower ground shit. That's underground shit. That's what I meant to say. That's underground shit.
All right, I got you.
What is drug dealers? Underground shit. What is scammers? Underground shit. When you want to get illegal shit, you go underground. What are these hustlers and these swindlers doing? They're underground people. So guess what? The underground going to always attract themselves to the underground.
Yeah, no doubt.
Always. Because guess what? If you sit in there and you move in a certain way, right? If you move in a certain way, certain women shouldn't even attract you. You dig what I'm saying? If you move and carry yourself a certain way, even if this is a real woman, if she walk up to me with purple hair, I'm like, sister, move away from me. Nah, I don't move. I got 12 months. I don't need no more. Yeah, it's like, if you could, that was my whole issue with the Umar shit. And that's with all of these dudes. See, because these niggas isn't pro-black. They nothing but black, white dudes. That's it. They're the 10%. They the ones that have the knowledge, but they're going to use it to control the 85. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, see,
they're the 10%.
I was speaking to like the point, so like how they be getting the money off of the community. You know what I'm saying? It's like speaking to your point of you were saying like how, you know, we don't gotta pay for this shit. You don't gotta pay to be black. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, with selling sovereignty and selling, you know, these different things. That's all a hustle for them to achieve whatever. And I mean, it is to me is them preying on the weakness of the people, knowing that most of us are in that religious mind frame. We looking for a Messiah. We looking for that ultimate one. And so now it's like, you know, you see people that's following them, they looking up to them like that. And so it's easier to sell that hustle to them. Y'all got this book, $40. You fill all this shit out, read this, and you can be sorry. You can be on your way to being a sorry. What is that anyway? You know what I'm saying? But when you look up to somebody, it's like when you looking at them as the Messiah, you just hear them saying it's a way out, or they fulfilling some shit you missing. You know what I'm saying? It's like them just preying on the weak. So just speaking to the point of you know, black people, we can't so much. We gotta more so be into the information of it. That we can't follow the people. So once the information is getting to where it can't help you.
Hear what I'm saying? Fuck the information. How about that? Fuck the information. You got people that live their life till they 30 years old, right? And I seen this shit. I was a kid, right? And before I say the story, you got people that live their life till they 30 years old, right? Pick up a goddamn book, find out about the kings and queens in Africa, and now they lose their mind. They watch Roots, and then they lose their mind. You see what I'm saying? So I say to myself like this. The information is only good for the youth. Because, and I'm speaking on this as somebody who grew up in the information. The information is for the youth. You as an adult, your only fucking purpose is to build a foundation. That is it. You got to understand that you're going to sacrifice yourself for the youth.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by info. I don't necessarily mean like...
hear what I'm saying. Hear what I'm saying. When you're young and you get the information, right, you're going to go through your periods where you're going to hate white people, right? But if you hate white people and you 12, you dig what I'm saying? That don't affect nobody. in the sense of you losing your job and can't take care of your family. You're 12 years old. You see what I'm saying? You're going to grow now to then understand how to protect yourself from that white energy. So when they come in towards you and they ask you questions, or they want to move funny, or they want to try to touch your hair, you're going to carry yourself a certain way that lets them know, oh, I can't try this one. That way is called having knowledge of self. You cannot teach knowledge of self. You see what I'm saying? I didn't grow up with the Jesus doctrine. We read the Bible. Ironically, I believe it was a Hebrew Bible. All the characters in there was black. You see what I'm saying? So the way I had really interpreted this shit, I was interpreting it like how the Hebrews do it to a certain degree, right? With being Rasta and being Pan-African pro-black. So it was never a white Jesus thing. So when I hear black people who have a white Jesus burnt into their psyche, they can't get that out. You see what I'm saying? They can't get that out. That's why you see a lot of these people, they'll be pro-black, and they'll get older and then go back to the church praising the God. And it's like, oh, because I don't know where my son, like, damn, how you turn back into that zombie? Right. You see what I'm saying? Your programming comes as a baby.
But see, like, what I mean by, like, information, like, because, you know, a lot of us is coming from, you know, being lost, so to speak. We don't know. We don't have any type of consciousness. So, you know, you might be an older person that got turned on to Polight or to anybody, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so a lot of these dudes give good information. And when I say information, I mean not necessarily, you know, the black history, the kings and queens, not necessarily that. Like, for example, you know, I'm listening to Umar, and he talking about his Pan-African shit. But in the middle of that, he's talking about how you can get a exemption for your kid so that they don't have to be vaccinated. You know what I'm saying? So I know when I'm listening to it, it's like, you know, amongst everything that he's saying, whether I agree with it or not, that's real information for me that I used. Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? Right. I didn't have to, you know, swipe no card. I didn't have to go to his, you know, his PayPal or whatever and give him something. I didn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only thing I mean about information. It's like a lot of us get turned on to shit, but it's useful shit that's in there. Take the useful shit. You don't have to buy shit from people. It's this guy on Instagram, like Credit Fix Guy or something like that. And he sells his manuals and stuff like that he created to help you fix your credit. But if you look at his posts and shit, he gives you information in the post. Like, where you could just, if you reading this and you got common sense and you thinking about it and you investigate further, you will understand what to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's good shit in there, but you can't follow the person. You have to just follow what's good. And if you listening to these dudes and they giving you all foo-foo-la, to use your term, you know what I'm saying? Then you know that this cat is not for you. It's like, okay, I'm not getting anything from him. You know what I'm saying? You can't follow it. When you start following the person, then you want to see them do good. So you're going to put that 50 out there to get that man to do. Or you really start believing the shit they saying, like, oh, look at him coming up. He got to be right. And then you want to spend and put up. But it's not about spending. It's about getting the shit that's useful to you and rock with that. Like growing up, you know, my mom's, you know, she was a hard-body Christian, you know what I'm saying? But we never went to church. Like, my pops, my brothers, my cousins, and all, like, it used to be like my aunts and my moms, you know, they'll go to church. My mom's might have went more, then she turned to Jehovah's Witness, you know what I'm saying? I've been around that. Been around 5% when I went to school, you know, different shit. But I always look at it like, okay, whatever don't relate to me, whether it's true or not true or whatever, if it's not resonating with me, then I'll move on to what is resonating for me. Because all these books got information in it. You take what's good, what works for you, and then the rest of that shit, you know what I'm saying? I don't got to live by the Quran, but if it got something in there where it's like, oh, that's some good shit, I could take that, you know what I'm saying? But I don't got to be toting it with me or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, take what's going to work for you and then just move on. We can't follow the person. That Messiah shit that don't work for us, you know what I'm saying? And when he not here, then what we going to do? We dying to look for another person? So follow the information.
But this is how we do. This is what we do with the whole Polight. This is what we do for the fake people that's out there with the bullshit, and this is how we do for the goddamn foo-foo-la niggas, man. Exterminate all y'all bullshit.
Some pop shit.
You know what I'm saying? So this is how we do that. So,
right.
we got a caller calling in from the 917-405. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Kevin Sean from New York City.
Yeah, what's good?
First time caller, long time listener.
Okay, that's great.
Wow.
No, I'm just listening to you guys,
going on,
man.
sir?
You know, I'm just listening to you guys. I enjoy the show. You know, a lot of what you guys typically talk about, and current news and stuff. And you guys are just going into some stuff that's really like kind of hit home with me when you start talking about religion and kind of how you feel about it. And Smoke was talking about some good things within the message, and you know, I'm not religious, but I believe there are some good things in the message. That's why I went to church recently. I mean, I thought most of it was bullshit, but there was some good things, and I could tell my girl, she felt good. She felt good when we left, so you know, I was like, oh.
But see, this is what I feel when it comes to the whole church. Because this is me. Me personally, I don't believe in none of that shit no more. I don't believe in no God. I don't believe in no devil. I don't believe in none of that shit. I believe the whole shit was for us to have us distracted while these crackers control the land and we fighting over when we die where we going to go. So I don't believe in none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? I threw my Bible away at 15. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like the reason why the women get caught up into it is because it's emotional. No different than a good movie. You know, you can get the same energy from church after watching Simba die, father die, watching the Lion King. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I tear up every time I watch Spike Lee's Malcolm X. Even though I know Malcolm gonna die, I always tear up when I know, damn man, they about to kill Malcolm. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's just emotional. It's not, you know what I'm saying? So that's why a lot of times women get caught up. And then they know that if the woman believes the story, that's why the men, when you listen to these the preachers talk, they always talk like it's seduction. It'd be like, oh, yes, the Lord. And I'm like, yo, my man, talk like a man to me. Don't whisper in my ear. Don't talk like you trying to, you know what I'm saying? But it sounds good for a woman. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how you talk to a woman like that.
I think some people need to feel like there's something bigger out there, and that, you know, because if you most people can't handle that we're just animals playing a game that, you know, is a system that was set up by a group of people, right? So like we're all going to work every day for this green paper, we're all doing the same thing, but that's why most scientists and we're like astronauts, they're not religious people because they see that we're insignificant, you know, in some respects. Because we're just all living our life and we're going to die, like I said.
Yeah, but the deeper part isn't even about that. Like, that's the most simplistic part of living your life and die. But the deeper part about life, in all actuality, is you start your life to create something and leave it for your children. And they're supposed to carry that on and carry further and things of that nature. So once you die, you're supposed to die with something. But what happened, the situation that we in now is, and this is why we need God and all these other stories and shit, because we're literally being forced to live in unnatural conditions. And we've been living in these unnatural conditions for so long, we think it's normal. So now that it's normal to us, now we say, oh, we going through this because we living in sin, you know, but we're really out of our mind. it's like living in Brooklyn. A bunch of you used to shootouts and shooting to the point that you could sit on the corner of some shit, hear a gunshot, and it don't even bother you. But guess what?
No, it's normal.
If a kid not from there, if he reacts, what you gonna do, Kevin Sean? What you gonna do? You gonna laugh? You gonna say, man, what you fucking for? Gunshots over there. Not knowing that we out of our mind.
6 blocks away.
Yeah.
You know, when you from the hood, that's a while. You can tell how many blocks away. You can tell somebody got hit.
Yeah, you can tell me blocks. And not knowing that, all of that's PTSD. All of that is psychologically, you're not even right in your head. That's why a lot of times you might get somebody from the hood and then bring them in a nice, normal condition, and they can't relate. And then people look at the person from the hood like something wrong with him, even though something is wrong. But your society is why he's so out of order like that.
I took my little brother out the hood, and I sent him to the suburbs of Georgia to live with my sister, and he basically had PTSD. Like, he couldn't handle, like, having things. Like, he couldn't handle comfort and space and safety.
Where's he from?
Huh?
Where's he
Bronx.
from? You said you're from the
Bronx?
From the Bronx?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Hey, wait, well, from the Bronx coming to Georgia, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be a cultural shock.
He just he hated it. He hated out there. And now, you know, and he came back, got him a girl in the project. I'm like, you went out of your way to come back to this environment. Like,
yeah. Because you get used to it.
It's interesting. When you get used to a certain environment, it's hard to snap out of it.
Yeah, it's hard. Because if you know what it is, too? It's I believe, true that you have to want it, but you have to find strength and comfortability in the new life. Because you got to treat people from the hood like abused victims. And you're so used to getting beat up on that if you say, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you ever see how
I'm not going to
order food? They curse the goddamn person out. The behind
Yeah. But guess what? They only reflect on how their mother talks to them. Eat your goddamn food. Put that shit up. So now when you go out there and tell somebody, yo, give me my fucking, and it's like, oh, he's rude. It ain't even that they're rude. It's that I'm in a fucking condition that's unnatural. You see what I'm saying? So that's how we are as black people. We're in an unnatural, we're in a condition where police can kill us, and then the solution is black people have to learn how to interact with police.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like they like with social media, camera phones and everything, white people know that they have privilege now, and I don't think they really give a fuck. Like, they're like, hey, all right, you caught us. Like, you got us. We don't give a fuck.
They benefiting off of it.
I don't think they care. Like, why would they care? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they know. Like, we want the better job. We want to get paid more than you. I think that's why Trump got elected. Like, they don't give a fuck that he doesn't know what he's doing. He out there going crazy. He's saying wild shit. But they're like, yo, Trump is pro-white. That's what, at the end of the day, he's pro-white. So, I get it.
Wait. Let me read this one thing real quick, just to add emphasis to what you said. Trump approval rating rebounds. President Trump's approval rating has bounced off a previously low point, according to a new poll. This is The Hill. According to data from the latest Harvard-Harris poll survey provided exclusively to The Hill, 48% of respondents say they approve of the job Trump is doing, compared to 52% who say they disapprove. That's a 3-point increase in the approval rating from last month when Trump posted a 45 to 55 split in the poll. So my whole shit is this to black people. Stop fucking listening to white people tell you what white people doing and open your eyes and look. White people lie to black people. But white people tell the truth. Also, I don't know how to explain how they do it. But white people tells the truth while they lying to your ass. But if you understand how to listen to them, they'll tell you what's going on. That's why I've been telling people Trump is going to win. That's why I'm telling people Trump's going to get a second term. And after Trump is going to be another fucking Republican. While all y'all black people is listening to Maxine Waters scream impeach Trump and a nigga named Al Green. The Congressman named Al Green. I never even heard of this dude until he want to do something to Trump. What the hell is y'all doing for the black people? What are y'all doing for the economy? What are you doing to pass laws to protect black people? You get what I'm saying?
That's why
These
it's
are
all
the things
good.
that's not
That's why it's occurring. That's why it's occurring, because anything outside of building black America is acceptable. So it's okay for them to be, you see them shuffling blacks in and out, CNN, Fox, all these outlets, to, you know, talk about their hating of Trump and, you know, his policies and all this and that. But it's not changing anything. It's a bunch of banter. It's just talking. You know what I mean? But while that's happening, you know, you have policies being put in place. You have privatized prisons coming back. It's like we're mentioning on that, but it's more so a talk of hate of Trump. But at the end of the day, we're not concentrating on building black America. So whatever happens, whatever is the outcome of these Trump years, his presidency, we're going to still be in the same place. We guaranteed to be in the same place whenever his presidency is over. So it's like, it's really worthless talk. It's not doing anything.
Yeah, and then who we listen to? Oh, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
I got one question for you two brothers, and I'm a frequent listener to the show. And you guys talk about, you know, building black America and the black economy and things like that. But as a black man today, you know, I work in finance, and you hit a ceiling as a black man unless you become, if you're not willing to become that guy that's like, hey guys, you guys, yeah, I golf, and you literally have to become that guy. Like, you have to transform and become one of them, because they set up the system, right? So you either got to make them feel comfortable and become that guy. If you're not willing to become that guy, you hit a ceiling. So, okay, you say you want to go into business for yourself, and you want to go ahead.
Brother. Wait, let me cut you off right there. Now, you said you want to ask us a question, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's keep that right there on the bulletin board. The question. You said what do you do for a living?
I work in finance. I work in finance. How
about you give us a day-by-day run-by of how that feels being a black man in that type of world?
Environment.
Like,
you're
that step out of doing
it depends on what environment you're from. So if you're from the suburbs and you basically grew up around white people, you're super comfortable, right? It's no problem. You have the same interests. You play lacrosse, and you're that guy. You're friendly. You're typically bald head. You're not too big. You don't have any scars on your face, and you have that in it. Or you come from the hood and you kind of work your way there, and then you have to choose which person you want to become. So are you going to take shit and not get promoted and not open your mouth and give what they take to you, or you're going to fight for it and then you become a problem? Like he's like he doesn't work well with others and things like that, and you literally can't win. Like, you cannot win. Like, they can fire you for anything. I've seen brothers get fired for nothing. I see other guys just put their head down and take what they could get, And then there's others who are like, listen, what's the median salary for people at my position at this company? And next thing you know, that guy disappears. Like, he starts becoming a problem, and then he's out the door. They're talking about he's coming in late, and you know, everybody on the floor comes in late, but he's the only one time. So then he's out the door. So it's and then if you want to, like what you guys both suggest is create a black economy, you know, support one another and things like that. I watch our businesses grand opening, grand closing, because you literally don't have that support. Like, you would think if a black restaurant opened up in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, today, it would be flooded with black people just to keep it open, you know, but that's not the case. So it's like you don't want to become the phony guy, you know, Carlton Banks, but then you don't want to, you can't guarantee support from your own folks. That's something on my mind.
I feel that.
Okay, man,
I feel that.
That's an interesting point. But before we go too deep, let's pull off the bulletin board the question now. What was the actual question that you asked?
So state the question.
Yes, wait. Yeah.
How do we create that economy?
With that
situation,
situation,
we be self-reliant and not have to go into an environment. You were just talking about environments where you're not comfortable. So it's like, to get the money, I think we got to go into that environment.
I think we got to just be smarter. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, you use the example of, like, you know, having a restaurant. That's been done. You know what I mean? To separate yourself with a restaurant, you have to be amazing or have some cheap prices. You know, you got to pull some tricks out, you know what I mean, depending on where you at and things like that. So, like, we got to think more like necessities. We got to start creating, like, for example, toothbrushes or something. Things that is not tied into whether you black or white to get it. You know, we got to start creating and delving into, like,
let's give it the name. Let's give it the name. We got to create industry. We got to stop creating restaurants and barbershops and clubs and bars. All of that caters to people that get money to spend at your establishment. So if they're not making money, they're not going to your establishment. We have to create industry. You see what I'm saying? Because if I have an industry, then guess what? Instead of me saying why these 100 people ain't coming to my store to spend money here, these 100 people will be employed. They got to come in. If they don't, they're going to get fired. You know what I'm saying? That's how we got to think industry. We got to stop thinking, you know what I'm saying, T-shirts. No, we got to start having cotton field. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just pointing out excuses, but the reality is, sure, creating industry is exactly what we have to do, but the game is literally rigged against us, right? So, like, if a lot of people open up businesses after working for 20 years at a company, we made less money the entire time we were at that company. And then even if you go out for the loan, now they want to give us less loan, a smaller amount of money at a higher interest rate. Now our restaurant or industry or toothbrush company has shitty machines instead of the state-of-the-art machines that the next person makes. And it all comes back to community and how can we support one another, because at the end of the day, I'm going to the bank. I'm going to tell you how. How many rappers did you hear say, I started with an ounce, worked my way to a key? How many rappers say that? I
was just about to say that we get rich in the drug game, so it's a hustle.
You know what I'm saying? We got to start the same way. We got to say, yo, man, I'm trying to get a loan from the bank so I can get me this key, but the bank won't lend me the money to get the brick. No, then work your way up. Instead of saying, I want to get on top to the very start, no, start from the bottom. I learned that from the West Indians. You know what I'm saying? And that's the blessing that my father's Trinidadian, and I grew up as a Rastafarian because I've always been around with West Indians. And I'm watching West Indians make patties and make food with silver trays like my mother used to do, with Bunsen burners. My mother would cook food in the house with her food stamps, buy food, cook it in the house, go to these reggae concerts, have the silver tray with the food, the Bunsen burners underneath. We as children and shit, we told it with her, you know what I'm saying, when we was too young to be in the house by ourselves. And my mother out here dishing out food all night, dishing out food, getting money off plates of food. She didn't have to go to no bank, you know what I'm saying? And then offer that bread and getting them clientels up and people recognize it, oh, that's the woman with the food, oh, and stuff like that. Then you get you a fucking building or a food truck. Then from the food truck, then get you a building. You see, because you should have your money up by then. But a lot of times we don't want to work up to get that money. We want to go to the bank because the white man, that's how he gets it, and then fuck how the white man gets it. You got to get it how you live.
That's unfortunately that's how we live, and we got to start from the bottom, and that sucks. I mean, because if someone else could just literally get a loan and open 5 stands when I got 1 truck, you know what I mean? Like it's like that gives you all these companies are levered. They're like highly levered, like they're levered 30 times.
But guess what? Think about how sweet it's gonna be when you know what you created with no fucking help is competing and doing better than the rest of them who need that shit. How about that? You see what I'm saying? That's like
that's
how
sweet
dirty.
when it happens.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. We got to stop looking at. See, that's the dirty part of assimilation. Once we got into assimilation, then we started to look at what white people have and still like, we have that. So when I get money, I'm working towards getting shit that white people have. If white people drink this, I want to.
Indian product.
White people drink this, yeah. And it's like, so then we end up living a white man's reality that's killing us. And then we say, okay, well, live a black man reality. Well, we got to start it because we abandoned ours. Damn, man, I don't want to rebuild it and start from scratch. Why? Because we're selfish. We're supposed to say to ourselves, we're going to sacrifice ourselves to build the foundation so our children can go into a reality that's stronger than ours. And then their children can go into a reality that's stronger than ours.
But that's,
you know what I'm saying?
Would you agree that's what we're doing right now?
Hell,
I think you don't think you're in a better position than your predecessors, your parents?
Let me tell you, we're not. We're not. I'm gonna tell you, this is how the game goes. When Democrats is in office, we're like Jamaica with the JLP and the PNP. When Democrats is in office, black people is hired more, we living better, we getting houses and so-called fake-ass opportunity, and the Republicans come in because they say that's enough. The niggas done ate enough. Now it's our turn. And then they come in and they start taking away all the shit, and then we starve, and then a Democrat come in, and then we live good again, and then a Republican come in, then we starve. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'll be like, nah, we're in a hamster wheel. We're in a hamster wheel. Yeah. We keep thinking the faster we run, the quicker we're going to get to freedom. No, you in the same place, just with Jordans now instead of sandals. You know what I'm saying? Instead of you wearing fucking slave clothes, now you wearing tight jeans. But you're still a slave. You're a nicely dressed slave.
That's a funny image.
That's New York. But that's New York.
Instead of barefoot Jordan sandals.
New York is a bunch of nicely dressed poor people. Come on.
All right.
Hey, you're from Brooklyn, right?
Yeah.
What part of Brooklyn are you from?
Brownsville.
Nigga. You know a nigga named A nigga named Naheem?
Yeah, I know Naheem. He's a barber.
Yeah, I used to get my hair cut by that nigga. Yo, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, I ain't seen him in a minute either. You know, I'm out of them areas now. But he was a nicely dressed brother though, right?
To this day, I follow him on Instagram.
Oh, you follow him on Instagram? Oh, I need to link up. You know what I'm saying? Let them know. You know what I'm saying? So cut to this point. You know what I'm saying? The nigga dressed nice, but
what?
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
what you say?
I said, the niggas were living rough.
Yeah.
But they were nicely dressed. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that goes to value system, man.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So that's my whole point. It's like you would sit here. My girl, she from Brooklyn, right? She from Grenada, really, but she lived most of her life in Brooklyn. Shout out to Spoken Girl. But she is looking at her girlfriends now. Now that we middle age, we in our 30s.
Mm-hmm.
And these girls is living like they still 20 and popping. Coming out of raggedy buildings and don't got cars, can't drive. You know what I'm saying? Living with their mom, kind of shit. And it's like,
can
shorty,
I play
40.
devil's advocate? Can I play devil's advocate to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because what's interesting is, right, like, you grow up in Brownsville, and I unfortunately don't have as much contact with a lot of the guys I grew up with because obviously our interests have changed. Like, we're doing different things. We might not have the same stuff to talk about, and they have some of them might have a kind of hunger where they might still got that Grammy in their eye, right? So,
right.
So if you grow up in the hood and you go to these shitty schools where the teachers don't care about you, they're ready to leave you back, right? You moving forward, you're behind on in a system that you were forced into right away. So you're behind because your parents don't speak to you in the manner that these tests grade the exams on. So you might not have articulate parents. You might only have one parent. That parent might be out working, or they might be home on food stamps. Then you can't get into good schools. College ain't an option for you because you literally don't have the tools because you're in an environment where you're not around anybody you can pull any information out of. Like, nobody can get you to that next level. And unless you completely do it on your own on some movie shit, you know, it's very difficult. Then at a certain point, you might be working a bullshit job like at Target, but you're like, you know what? Fuck this. I want some Pradas one day. I never wore fucking Pradas. I never wore nothing. I never wore, you know, Chanel bags. You know, I want to wear that shit too. I don't got access to it. I'll never earn $250,000 where a Chanel bag's a normal bag for me. But it's like, fuck this. I only live once. I'm gonna die.
Right.
What do you say to that mindset?
This is what I say to the mindset. Because what I'm gonna say to the mindset, I'm gonna answer your question you asked earlier. So we not no better than the past, than our past parent.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Okay. We know better than our past parents. You're right. This is the same cycle. We just got a flat screen now.
Already. Yeah, at one point. Okay, that's a good point. That's it. Yeah.
How many you could look at your mother's, your grandmother's pictures back in the day? They styled it. They got fur, nice hat, gold, and then you looking like, damn. And then you looking at yourself, and guess what you doing? You living good, taking pictures and shit, and then now you fall off. Now your kid grow up taking pictures and shit, they fall off. That means we not moving. The years getting longer.
It's a cycle.
That's it, but we're not moving. That's it. You know, I used to tell that to my girl.
That's the mindset.
So now, how do you change that? I'm not a person that believes in changing the people.
Which parent is going to sacrifice? Which generation is going to sacrifice? Which one is going to eat shit and live a shitty life and work every day and buy a house, and now the house paid off for generation after generation? One of our people got to eat shit. Either mom, my grandmother, somebody got to eat shit.
The 80s babies.
Oh, that was
we have to be. Oh, no, I'm gonna tell you, we are the generation. We middle aged. We middle aged now. It's our duty to sacrifice up. You know why it's our duty? Because I remember when we was kids, we used to say to the adults, "Y'all failed to pass the torch to us." So since we said to them that y'all failed, y'all civil rights niggas failed to pass the torch, and they admitted that they failed to pass the torch to us, we can't then become them. And then let the 90s babies in the 2000s turn around and say, y'all failed us. And then they get older and they turn around.
A wash.
It's a wash. But guess what? The ones that died out, died out. The ones that turned gay, turned gay. But you got who's still black and understands what's going on to remind the people, because that's the only purpose of talking on Blog Talk Radio, YouTube, and in the streets like that. This talking shit is not revolutionary. This talking shit is not building nothing.
But I feel like every generation knows that they got to do that sacrifice, but then they just go, I want that flat screen TV, man. Let me get that flat screen. Everybody knows the cycle. It's like, but I want to eat now.
Really, I want to eat now. It's two marketing schemes going on in America. It's the white marketing to lead you into fucking hell, and it's the
oh, you must be drunk.
No, hello.
You still there? I don't know what happened about.
Oh, sorry, brother. I got the print.
Nah, he must have dropped off unless he hit mute or something. But yeah, he was in the middle of his point. But yeah, man, I don't know, but
we all know about the cycle, man. But it's hard. It's hard not to buy
I always say that, like, we just full of shit, you know what I'm saying? Because we have that information and we know what's going on. So it's up to us to not be full of shit and really want to achieve the, the goals that we always speak on. So, we'll say, we want this. We want our kids to have, a good start. But then, while we're living and working, we're not putting money away, because everyone can't be a business owner. Everyone's not going to go and get a store, and they might not even have that type of spirit in them. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna go be who they are. They're gonna go work for somebody. But if you have a mind of like building yourself and your family, and also building Black America, then you could say, well, I might work for a white corporation or whatever. Whatever you want to say.
And that's what some of us do.
But what you could do is what you do with your money. So say, you get your paycheck, or, however you get paid, and, instead of buying the Gucci's or whatever, you can, put that away for your kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
College fund, or, whatever you, think is going to be good for them. Invest in a property or something like that, invest in stock. You know what I'm saying? Because, at the very least, it's like you can support Black businesses. So, they have, like, Black businesses that sell toilet tissue, laundry detergent, you can look them up. And, you could just support those, clothing and things like that, all these clothing lines and stuff that's out here. So, at the very least, it's like supporting it. So, going back
I think we're more woke than ever. Like we're certainly more woke than ever with everything going on. Like people are looking to support black businesses more than ever. And, you know, I just kind of bring it up as the devil's advocate because I know what the mindset is of the people, a lot of people that I grew up with, and something that I actually struggle with. You know, like sometimes I want to take a trip. Sometimes I want to do things where I know I got to put away money. Like, you know, I wanted to buy a really nice car, but I ended up leaving with a Passat, you know, and I'm just like, you know, you sacrifice it, man. Like, you know, you're just eating it because your parents gave you nothing. They just literally, you know, nothing.
Yeah, it's the small sacrifices sometimes, you know what I mean? It's the small sacrifices, you know what I mean? We could turn those things into bigger things. So, I mean, it's not going to be an overnight transition, you know what I mean? It's not. We're not going to wake up tomorrow and everything is good. It's not going to be a year. You know, it takes time. It's going to take those generations of kids growing up in it for it to happen.
That's why you got to pass it on to the children. That's why you got to instill it to the children. Because you might have that crazy shoe fetish. Why am I going to tell you to stop buying shoes when you already got that taste for buying shoes and name brand and all that? When your child get born, you got to say to your child, like, you got to say to yourself, I want to die, let this die with me. So you teach your child how to dress, not necessarily name brand. But this is how you match and how you coordinate, and this is how you look smooth and how, so you can develop your own style. But and then that child will be like, you know what, I don't need name brand and shit to get fly. I know how to dress.
Shit.
Then the next child will grow up and be like, you know what, I want to learn how to make these clothes. You know what I'm saying? It's all going to take time, but guess what? Nobody complained about the time it takes for us to teach our kids to drink beer early. My father gave me beer when I was a baby. I'm going to give my son beer as a baby. My mother gave me Domitap to go to sleep. I'm going to give my baby Domitap to go to sleep. We'll pass that shit on.
Well, that's a tough lesson to pass without using some. Because I remember, you know, my grandmother. I wanted cross-colored jeans, and she got me a Bosco jeans, and I thought about running away from home. So, she taught me the good lesson. You know, she taught me a good lesson, but I was upset. You know, I have those values today, but I remember I was pissed.
Oh man, you were traumatized.
Yo, let me tell you, I grew up in a household. My mother, she brought me some goddamn shoes from Target, right? These shits was goddamn Converses, right? It looked like Converse. It was like in that style of Converse. It was black, right? With neon green around like the whole fucking shoe, right? And a face on the top corner of a dude with a fucking spiky neon green hair. Shit was so fucking dope. And the fucking rubber at the front of my shoe was mad thick and it was rigid like corduroy. So, like, if I walk too close, if my feet touch each other, it should be like, zzz, zzz, like that. I'm like, I got to walk with my legs spaced out, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, Mom, why would I go to school? This is like $12 shoes. I'm like, Mom, why am I going to go to school with these shoes? And she was like, yo, create a new style. I'm like, God. But you know what I'm saying? This is like the early 90s. You know what I'm saying? It's like 92, 93, you know what I'm saying? By like 93, 94 type shit. And it's like, yo, I'm like, come on. My mother have shirts placed out there. This is the shirt you got to wear today. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, now, I ain't saying wear today like she dressed me, but like, this is the shirt I brought. Boom. There was no, is this Polo? Oh, I ain't wearing this bullshit.
Ain't wearing it.
That's it.
No choice.
That's it. We only know shirts, pants, shoes.
Shirt,
That's
pants.
it.
Shirt, pants.
Yo, I remember, we used to get hand-me-downs and shit from my cousins, right, in Brooklyn when we moved down to Georgia. So I get a pair of Ewins, right, but I didn't know. I don't watch basketball because I'm a single-parent household kid with my mother. She didn't watch basketball, so I couldn't watch basketball. So I'm in Georgia, and we get these kicks. I'm like, okay, boom, rocking the kicks. People are like, oh, shit, you got some new Ewins. I thought it was called E-Wings. Because I didn't know. I'm like, I didn't know how to pronounce it. Yo, I heard the name before, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, E-W-I-N-G, what the fuck is that? I was like, E-Wing? So I used to just call it E-Wing. And the motherfucker was like, oh, you got the new Ewins? And I'm looking at these shits like, oh, okay, that's cool. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I didn't know about none of that. Yeah, that's why when I got to New York again, I started making a little bread, you know what I'm saying? That's when I started going polo crazy. You know what I'm saying? But the whole point is, you have to still say to yourself, we don't need that shit. And when you say to yourself, we don't need that shit, to make it strong, institute it into your child. Because your child would check you if you slack it. You know what I'm saying? You might sit there and be like, oh, this jumpsuit look dope. And your child might look at it and be like, nah, that's too flashy. I ain't trying to look like them girls that be all
it's also a business opportunity because if you know our people, we like to dress up, we like to get fly. We'll pay $200 for some sneakers, or you know what I mean, $200, $300 for some jeans, or we do shit like that. Not everybody's gonna adopt that mind frame. We still gonna have consumers. We're gonna have people who want to have fun. So what you do is you create those products. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, we like sneakers. I'm gonna make a sneaker. Or girls like purses. We make purses, or whatever. So it's also a business opportunity because everybody's not gonna adopt that mind frame. So you just say instead of buying a damn Gucci purse, you can buy this.
Remember what I said?
These sneakers.
But so many of us are brainwashed, man. It's like to them brands. You can come out with a FUBU. They don't want to wear no FUBU. What's FUBU? They want a Givenchy shit they can't even say, like E-Wing. But it's true. If you grown ass people, you was a kid.
Let me say this though. On this note here, because we got 44 minutes into the show, right? Guest calling number 646-716-4654 in Black America. The Compromise of 2020. Rest in peace and salute to the brother Prodigy. We're drinking that Barcardi Limon. And when I say we, I mean me. So I want to get into the compromise of 2020. I want to get into the compromise of 2020 because we got 44 minutes and shit. I feel like this is important because it's up to date. Now, do y'all know what the compromise of 2020 is?
No.
Explain.
No, right? You know why? Because I made that shit up. The compromise of 2020 is going to be the compromise when Donald Trump gets reelected, right? Now watch this. I'm going to read from the Compromise of 1877. The Compromise of 1877 was a purported informal, unwritten deal that settled the intensely disputed 1876 U.S. presidential election. It resulted in the United States federal government pulling the last troops out of the South and formally ending the Reconstruction era. Now, before I continue, you do know what the Reconstruction era is, right? Do y'all know what the Reconstruction era is?
No, but I'm sure you're telling.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It was like
Reconstruction.
like that.
Right. See, the Reconstruction era, that's when now, okay, the term Reconstruction era in the context of the history of the United States has two senses. The first covers the complete history of the entire country from 1865 to 1877, following the American Civil War. The second sense focused on the attempted transformation of the southern United States from 1863 to 1877 as directed by Congress, with the reconstruction of states and societies with the okay. We're gonna talk about with the black people with the Reconstruction. And that's what I want to talk about. The whole point of the Reconstruction, though, what I want to say is how the okay, there we go. Okay, he experimented by giving land to blacks in South Carolina. By fall 1865, the new president, Andrew Jackson, declared the war goals of national unity and the ending of slavery achieved and Reconstruction completed. Republicans in Congress refused to accept Johnson's lenient terms, rejected new members of Congress, some of whom had been high-ranking Confederate officials. A few months before, Johnson broke with the Republic after vetoing two key bills that supported the Freedmen's Bureau and provided federal civil rights to the freedmen. Basically, during this time of the Ku Klux Klan, black people had a lot of rights. They had land. They were building their societies, such and such again, right? So earlier you said, Kevin John, that we're moving forward, right? So now we go into this. It resulted in the United States federal government pulling the last troops out of the South and formally ending the Reconstruction era. Ending it. So we're going to replace Reconstruction with Obama era, right? Through the compromise, Republican Rutherford B. Hayes was awarded the White House over Democrat Samuel J. Tilden on the understanding that Hayes would remove the federal troops whose support was essential for the survival of Republican state governments in South Carolina. During this time, you got to understand that Republicans are really Democrats. Like if this was modern day term, these Republicans would be Democrats. The compromise involved Democrats who control, and the Democrats would be Republicans. The compromise involved Democrats who controlled the House of Representatives, allowing the decision of the Electoral Commission to take effect. The outgoing president, Republican Celia S. Grant, removed the soldiers from Florida, as President Hayes removed the remaining troops from South Carolina and Louisiana. As soon as the troops left, many white Republicans also left, and the Redeemer Democrats took control. They already dominated most of the state's governments in the South. What was exactly agreed is somewhat contested, as the document is scanty. Black Republicans felt betrayed, which again, in this case would be black Democrats, felt betrayed as they lost power and were subjected to discrimination and harassment to suppress their voting. At the turn of the 20th century, most black people were effectively disenfranchised with state legislation in every southern state, despite being a majority in some. So the reason why I read that is because this is what is about to happen in 2020 when Donald Trump, probably in 2018, because they're going to realize once they lose out in 2018, then they already know what's going to happen in 2020. So it really might happen. I should have said the compromise in 2018. But the Democratic, these liberal whites that keep kissing their ass and letting them control y'all, they're going to be so fucking desperate for power that they're going to make the agreements with the Republican whites to turn on the fucking blacks. And guess who's somebody who sideways say that? Bernie Sanders. Every time you hear him say, we shouldn't deal with identity politics. The right, and I told y'all, the Democrats is in shambles. They got a story with a Washington chick. I don't know her real name. It's like Wishapah or some shit. She got a long ass Debbie Wishapah or some shit. She got a long ass last name, right? Wasawa. And she out here calling some shit, right? She's calling, right? Disguising her voice, trying to get information on the goddamn lawsuit against the Democratic National Committee. The DNC is getting sued. There's nobody to save you, black people. And when them Democrats is losing money and they can't feed their family, you know what they're going to do? They're going to turn around and say, I'm going to make a deal with these Republicans. Why the fuck am I going to suffer for these niggas? The Democratic Party is the party of the fucking Ku Klux Klan. And they're going to turn their backs on you blacks. And then we're going to see the 1980s again. Then we're going to see the 1980s again. The early 90s. Not the 1980s, my bad. Early 90s. We're going to see the 1980s. Because Trump's going to make it the 1980s. And when he get out of power, we're going to see that fucker crash, boy. We're going to have a Republican in for one more fucking term because the white people are going to be loving it because they're corrupt. And then there's going to be a Democrat that's going to come in. But my question to you, black people, is how many times y'all want to play this game? You see what I'm saying? How many times y'all want to play this game? Let me read this one part real quick.
Well,
Dependency has this. This is from the good book. The good book called
White Trash.
White Trash. Yeah.
What chapter is it?
The good book.
What chapter is it?
Dependency.
What page?
Oh, this is chapter 9. Chapter 9. Forgotten Men and Poor Folk.
What page? What's the page?
207. Yeah, so it goes. Destitute families had to be retrained and resettled into programs. For Alexander, the problem was stark and simple. Success could only be achieved when the prejudice against white trash was overcome. In other words, psychologically, reconditioning was as necessary as educational reform. Dependency had long defined the South. Since the 1870s, impoverished sharecroppers and convict laborers, white as well as black, had clung to the bottom rung of the social order. It may be hard for us to be phantom, but the convict population was no better off than Southern slaves had been. A prison official said it all. One die, get another one. Poor whites were inexpensive and expendable, and found their lot comparable to suffering African Americans when it came to the justice system. Nothing proves the point better than the fact that both black and white convicts were referred to as niggas. So the reason why I read that part is to show and to explain that The only thing that we should be doing, the only thing that we should be thinking about is teaching our babies. It is your duty to uplift the race, represent the race, and to better the race. Straight up. Just like I said earlier, talking on blog, talking all this shit ain't no revolutionary shit. This ain't no revolutionary shit. This ain't no building, no institution, no agricultural shit. This is just to remind you. This is just to sharpen your sword. This is just to give you the other influence or the other marketing. You dig what I'm saying, Smoke? Because you got one marketing where the black woman is bitches and hoes fighting on TV. So you need another marketing of the black woman as God. You birthed the nation. You should carry yourself better, think of yourself better, and do better. Because a better you is a better me. You see what I'm saying? A better you is a better us. A better you is a better nation. You dig what I'm saying? Because, and we hear the saying, you teach a man, you teach a person, you teach a woman, you teach a nation. So we need you to elevate yourself. Me saying that does not necessarily mean that black women are going to elevate themselves. But guess what? There might be a black woman that's sitting out there that's like giving up on, like, damn, all these black women out here acting. No, it's not all. You're basing that off of TV. Cut the TV off. Interact with these girls and talk, and you'll find out even the lost ones want to be found. You know what I'm saying?
No,
you got brothers out here now that's so caught out there into this white man world. They're getting caught out there with trannies and shit. You know what I'm saying? You're getting caught out there with trannies and shit. You in Hollywood. You getting caught out there with trannies. How you get caught out there with trannies? You see? Ain't nothing was there to begin with. That's why I keep telling people, you can't listen to the people who just learned it. If a nigga tell you, if I'm 36, you see what I'm saying? I've been seeing this for 36 years. I'm 36. Literally, my mother used to sit us down and have us study, learn. We chasing down Mandela. We first in Brooklyn, couldn't see him because, it was full. We knew, okay, he going to Harlem next. Mother threw it, we up, boom. We on a damn train and shit. Go straight to damn Harlem. We in the front, watching with my own eyes as a kid, listening to Mandela speak. We out here in the rest. So the point of me saying that is to say it's in my nature. The way I carry myself, the way I think, the way I look, the way I see shit. It's because this is how I was raised. My mother's not as strong as me. My mother's not as strong as me. You see what I'm saying? Because she took the information that she got and she passed it on to us, to my brothers and sisters. I'm going to speak on me. So she passed it on to me. So when it no longer fitted her no more, it still was here with me. So if she ever want to sharpen her sword, she could always sharpen her sword with me. Because that's who she gave the information to. That's how we have to do that. Right? Me, I'm going to tell you something funny, folks, and I said this to you before, so you can verify this. I was watching the Carmichael show, right, the last episode, right? It's a tough episode, right? There's some funny parts in it, but it's a tough episode, right? So it starts off, but I'm just going to go with the beginning part. It starts off with, it's Loretta Devine's birthday, And the mulatto chick in the show, she gives the mother a book. And they looking like, all right, what's the gift? So she like, the book is the gift. So she like, I don't know book, you know what I'm saying? So then it's like, you know, that's the joke. So there's some shit that's like, yo, black people don't read, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, it's taboo to say. They like, yo, black people don't read like that, man. Like, you know. So they like, so Gerard Carmichael, he like, what you mean? You know, how can you say black people don't read? They're like, I mean, you know, we read like if, you know, if we have to read, but we don't just read, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it's funny because it's offensive, but then it's true. Because I remember when I was a kid, not a kid, I was a teenager. I was like, well, I was really like 20 now at the time because I moved, 19. So I came back to Georgia to this girl I used to deal with. She was still in Brooklyn, so when my birthday came, you know, boom, you know, happy birthday. I get this gift. It's a fucking book. You know what the name of the book is, Flo?
What?
Investments for Dummies.
No, that's what's up.
I'm like, what? Investments for Dummies. I'm looking at this shit like, hell no, I ain't read that shit. At the time I'm 19. Hell no, I ain't read that shit. I'm looking at this like, yo, that's a bad gift. So I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get it. I tell people I'm not a reader at all. I only read because I know how to read. That's the only reason why I read. You know what I'm saying? And it sounds crazy because I'm telling you that I'm also trying to write a book. But I'm not a reader. So you know what I do? For people that want to know, I want to write a book, but I'm not a reader. So this is what I do. I'm reading people who wrote their own books, like Cody, Monster Cody. I'm reading his book, and I'm going to read Elgin Cleaver's crazy ass. I'm going to read his book. I already read Kamani's book. But it's like, I just read the people who wrote their own shit. Like if they say, yo, I wrote this when I was in jail and shit like that, I'll read that shit. And I'll read a couple of pages, and then I'll just start writing my shit. You know what I'm saying? Because now I got a feel of how the writing shit is. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I don't have to always, and he said, and this one said, I don't got to always do that. All right, cool. So then I'll start to write into my shit. And then once I say to myself, oh, okay, damn, I'm starting to lose the focus of how this writing shit go again, then I might read a couple more pages. You know what I'm saying? And just so I can have an understanding of how writing flows. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not a reader. But guess what? I got 2 sons. I'm a book collector, right? So I buy a lot of books, right? And that I skim through and shit, and I might read here and there or whatever. But my sons, they going to be readers. You see what I'm saying? Because when they get older and it's time, yo, I want y'all to do a report. I want y'all to read Message to the Black Man. I want y'all to read White Trash. Tell me what you learned about white people in this book. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tell me what you learned.
I'm like that too, though. I don't read a lot too. I got a lot of books. Cause I've always been a collector of sorts, of like books and magazines. Like I got Old Vibe magazine, like the first Blaze magazine, comic books, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like that too. And even with those back then, I would just look through them, like especially with comic books, I look through some of the pages, you know, read some of it, you know what I mean? If it wasn't a good story, I ain't like it, I'm putting it back so I don't mess it up. You know what I'm saying? I just used to collect stuff. So I'm like that. I'll touch my books. You know, I read it might take me a year to read one book. You know what I mean? I'm reading 3 chapters, leave it, forget about it, come back to it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you know, I understand.
This is how bad I am.
That vibe.
This is how bad I am. I'm on chapter 1 of I think it's called Philly's Black Brothers or some shit, the gangster shit in Philly. I'm on chapter 1 there. I'm in the middle of Chancellor Williams. Not the middle. I mean, I read a good amount of Chancellor Williams book. I enjoyed that. But it's not the middle. I'm way past the middle. But I'm not at the. But I didn't finish it. I'm at the end of Kamani's Marley's story, but I never finished that. I'm at literally the last chapter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm horrible, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to reading. You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z, I even got the Jay-Z book. You know what I'm saying? I read a good chapter or two, and, you know, I'm not a reader, you know what I'm saying? But I buy these books for my son. I got that whole... But now, watch how I'm going to break down reading, right? And black people lack of reading and lack of interest of reading, right? And I hope me saying that is pissing off the black person that does read a lot, is interested in reading, and teach their kids to read already, right? But hear what I'm saying. I'm speaking to the ones that don't, right? And what I'm saying is, for you to get yours to do, you're the sacrifice. Because think about this, Smoke. Every book that I buy, I'm going to read them all. And what do that do for you? You see what I'm saying? What do that do for you? Not a goddamn thing. You already know how to live and operate in life. So that's how you live. So live your life. But see, when you get them books, when you got daughters, and this is what I tell anybody, if you're a black man out there, especially if you're a black woman, if you got daughters, don't ever teach your daughters. Don't ever teach your daughters about the accomplishments of black men. Don't ever do that. Only teach your daughters about the accomplishments of black women. That is it. Not the accomplishment of women, the accomplishment of black women. Because by default, she's going to always learn about the accomplishment of men. She's always going to learn the accomplishment of black men. So it don't make sense for you to teach her about the accomplishment of black men or any man. You should only teach her about the accomplishment of black women. That's how you elevate her. That's how you bring her up. Now, here's the question. Now, here it goes, Smoke. But I don't know nothing about black women. And that's the point I'm making. You don't have to study that shit. You don't have to learn. You don't have to read not one book about what black women do. Every time you find out a black woman wrote a book, have a book, something about her story, you buy that shit. You build your library up. That way, as your daughter is growing up, and it's time for her to read, and it's like, Mommy, I want to read a book. Mommy, read me a story. Daddy, I want to read a book. Daddy, read me a story. Then you can go and grab the Hidden Colors book and read that story. You can read the Henrietta Lacks story to your daughter. You can read the stories of these black women. You can read the stories of these black little girls and things of that nature where that's building her memory bank of what it is to be a black woman. So now that she grow older and she hear things like, oh, shorty bounced that ass and all kind of shit like that, it's like, I don't even, man, get the fuck out of my face. Yo, I know women was warriors, and you know what I'm saying? The black woman is the woman that calculated and mathematically did. Blah, blah, blah. So you as the mother don't have to know that. And you as the father don't have to know that. But guess what? Your daughter be sharp. And then when that daughter grow older and have children, them children will be sharp. You see what I'm saying? So this is how we have to think, and this is how we have to move. Because I'm telling you, these liberal whites is about to turn. They're already turned on them. But for the ones who ain't see it yet, they're about to turn on you. And it's going to be the compromise they make to unify the country. When they say unify the country, they're talking about unifying white people. That's all they care about. We're just pawns in their game. Go ahead, Smoke.
Oh, man. Yo, man. I kind of lost track, but, I mean, this shit is like, we got to just focus in, man, really, man. Like, we got the tools necessary to do shit, man. Like, I know, like, just going back to, like, what we always speak on is, you know, just giving that shit to the youth, man. It's just a good point. That point about the, you know, with your daughters, because I don't have a daughter. Like, neither one of us have daughters, you know what I'm saying? That's really a good perspective, you know what I'm saying? But it all goes back to the theme of our show, and which is, you know, like changing the narrative, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, just because we don't got excuses, man. We don't got excuses for, at the very least, instilling these behaviors that we need to uplift the community, to uplift black people. We don't have no excuse to at least instill them in our kids, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, when you had dropped off early, I was telling, you know, I was talking to the caller about, you know, making a point of saying, like, you know, we don't, you know, everybody's not going to be in the same position. You know, everybody can't work. I mean, you know, build a job or create a job or create a business. You know, they might still work in corporate America, but we just got to change the narrative. So it's like, that's really what it is with Black America, man. We got to just know that it's about the kids, man. It's about instilling that shit into our kids, man, and making this shit, and stop just being selfish, man. Like I made a point to the caller, like, you know, we bullshitting, and we know that, man. Like, we full of it, you know what I mean? So, you know, I want to stay more positive and not really, you know, try to, like, you know, bash us in a sense. But, I mean, we just got to smarten up, man. We got to smarten up, yo. And when you reference back to the...
It's not really the smarten up. It's what you said earlier. Stop being fucking selfish, yo.
Yeah.
Fuck smarten up. Yeah. Cause niggas is dumb. You know what I'm saying? So fuck it. Yeah, you can't smarten up. You dumb. Stop being selfish with your dumb ass. You know what I'm saying? Stop being selfish with your dumb ass. You in the projects, you dumb, you ain't graduate, you don't want to do shit. Cool. You making it on the ain't shit list. Cool. Because you got babies now. Give them a chance. Right. You chose yours. Give them a chance. You see what I'm saying? If you sitting out here and you made it to the struggling era, where I'm struggling just to make it, guess what? Stop struggling just to make it and struggle for your children. Now you're struggling for a purpose. Give them that chance.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Now you're struggling to the working class. Now you working poor, right? Okay, cool. Now give them the opportunity for education. Okay, now you're the educated class, and you got you a nice job. Let your kids travel and see more. Okay, now your kids travel and see more. And they college bound and shit. Now they career driven. Now they entrepreneurs. Now they build an industry. Yada yada yada. I might have named 10 different generations. I might have named 20 different generations. Let's stop counting. Can you imagine, Smoke? And I'm gonna let it go to you, right? This is how I'm gonna throw it to you. Can you imagine the enslaved Africans dealing with their oppression? And they like, nigga, why fight? That shit gonna take us 100, 400 years to get a little fuck out of here. Why fight? That shit gonna take just lay down and take this shit. That's crazy. Sacrifice. Go ahead, Smoke.
Man, laying down and taking some shit, that shit don't sound good at all. Y'all. So we want to have that mentality, you know what I'm saying? Just think about that shit. No, Paul. Stop. I'm saying that shit don't even, you know what I mean? So it's just like, you know, we laugh about it, but I mean, just going back to like some of the stuff we touched on, you know, like you made the point of, you know, the compromise of 2020. And so you look at things that, you know, repeat. You know, you got these insider things going on with Congress and presidency. You know, this happened back in 1877. Now you see, you know, these rumblings currently of Trump and impeaching him and things of that nature. You know, you gave a great explanation of it. But the point really I want to make is that shit is serious out here. You know what I mean? We have things things that's going on that we can't affect, but they're affecting us. And you know, like I said before, you know, if we stand and we don't do anything, we don't teach our kids, we don't instill being black into the babies. You know what I mean? We don't create businesses. Then we're going to be in the same position, powerless, and these laws that's being passed out here, the privatized jails coming back, and the slew of other things that, you know, Trump is doing out here that's negatively affecting us, we still going to be powerless. And now you have another generation and another generation. So, you know, why not start now? Like, what we waiting on? You know what I'm saying? So we got the information. We just got to use it. We gotta put it together because, like, one thing I was thinking about earlier was, like, you know, we talk about consciousness. You know, Kevin Shaw on the call, he talk about, you know, us being woke now. You know what I'm saying? And we think about, like, the boatloads of information on YouTube and, you know, DVDs that's floating out here of, you know, different teachings and you know, everything from, you know, Pan-Africanism to African spirituality to, you know, whatever. We had the information.
Wait. We got 10 more minutes in the show. Hold on, wait a minute. You just said, hold on, wait a minute. Who woke? Who's supposed to be woke? Who's woke?
No, well, that's what the caller was, you know, referring to. But what I'm speaking more to is just
that's when I was off. That's when I was off the phone.
Yeah.
That's when the white man kicked me off BlogTalk.
Yeah.
Now let me tell you.
But what I want to say, just to finish my thought, you know what I'm saying, is like.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. All right. Well, just to finish, you know, the one half of we got one half of consciousness down, which is having the information, and you know, having our teachers and all this and that. The other half of consciousness, and there may be other branches, but the two that I can think of is the information and then applying the information. So now we have to be in the application of the information stages instead of just keep, you know, regurgitating, going to the books, reading. This is what I know. We have to just put some of that shit in order. We got to look at Powernomics and want to put that, you know what I'm saying?
But that's what I'm saying. That's not how it goes. That's not how it goes. It never moves like that. See, this is why we don't get it, because we think it moves. It doesn't move like that. It literally moves slow. It don't move like that.
Oh,
Remember, Richard Spencer. Well, before I even get to that, let me go back to the whole woke. If you was born in 1980, to 1985, I'll say. You can't be woke. You can't be woke. Woke is only for those 90s babies and them late 80 babies. You know what I'm saying? Who might have been too young to go outside and do it. That's woke. Because all of this shit is new to them. How the fuck can you be 36, 40 years old talking about hashtag stay woke? You don't remember Sean Bell and Amadou Diallo? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck is happening now that hasn't happened when you was a teenager? So is it a coincidence that the same shit is happening to these teenagers? So now they're staying woke. Back in our day, we used to say, we used to have all kind of shit we used to say back in the day, Smoke. Keep your eyes open, stay black. Come on, keep it real. Don't sell out. Don't sell out to the man. Come on. What the fuck, yo? But I feel like it's because we think we are the ones that's supposed to be doing this shit, and it's not. The only thing we're supposed to be doing is laying the foundation for the youth. If you don't have children, then you can go out there and be the fucking kamikaze, yo, and do what you got to do. But if you got children, you can't be no leader. The only thing you can do is work, provide for your family, and build your children up. That's what your role is. Your role is not to be outside here saying shit, because Malcolm spoke for the people, and he had children. And Martin spoke for the people, and he had children. They both got assassinated. And we see the outcome of their offspring in this tragedy. From Martin and then fighting over love letters and all kinds. I mean, not love letters. Yeah, love letters between the mother and the father, or just letters, period, and Bibles and all kinds of shit. Or you see Malcolm where they killing off his male lineage. I feel like it's more important, instead of us getting a leader to lead people, I think it's more important for us to raise leaders within our home. You see what I'm saying? To build a strong generation. And then that generation build a stronger generation. And then that generation builds a stronger generation. That way, when the conversation come about on unity, it ain't hard. Because we all is raised to understand what it is that we got to do. In the beginning, it's going to be rough. Because guess what? A lot of conscious brothers is going to have to deal with unconscious sisters. And a lot of conscious sisters is going to have to deal with unconscious brothers. Just for the seed. And then you raise them children correctly. That way, if that man or that woman leaves, the children is the next ones coming up with that righteous information and keep everything strong, and everybody else who's weak die off. If we don't understand this and get that shit and implement that into our situation, we're going to constantly cry over the killing of black men by police. And we're going to keep saying the same stupid shit that, oh, if these white men, they're afraid of us. They're afraid of us. No, they're not. No, they're not. If white people was afraid of you, they wouldn't have killed you. If white people was afraid of you, they wouldn't even fuck with you. If police was afraid of black people, black man should be able to ride down the street, and the white man should look at that black man and say, I ain't fucking with him. Yeah, I ain't fucking with him. I'm afraid of white people.
It's the law. If you scared of a black man, you can burn.
This is what's going on with black men getting killed by police. Because I want to get rid of these dumb narratives, and I want to get rid of these stupid ass foo-foo-la bullshit. The reason why black men getting killed by police and these cops ain't going to jail for this shit, the only reason why this shit is happening is because if they allow a cop to be found guilty or find a wrongdoing that a cop did of killing a black man and it was unjustified and they convict him, they will use that case to trial any other cases thereafter. That's not what they want. That's why there would never be a conviction. Because let me tell you, if there is a conviction of a cop for a black man, Smoke, the time the man got convicted of killing a Kai Gurley in Brooklyn, right?
Thanks.
This man was not under arrest. This man was not restraining. There's nothing. He was just walking up the stairs and got shot. That guy was found guilty. You know what they did? They overturned it. They overturned the conviction. So I can't even say if they kill. They'll kill you. They'll still kill you and they'll overturn it. But the whole purpose is because if there's a case that they can use where a black man is killed by a cop and this cop goes to jail for killing this black man, they can always use that as a case study. So instead of worrying about that, let's focus our energy on building a fucking economy, man, so we can take care of ourselves. How do we do that? How do we do that? How do we do that? Stop thinking about consumer-based businesses and think about industry-based businesses. Think about building shit. Stop thinking about selling shit. That's what we got to do. Straight up.
Word.
So, you know what I'm saying? So that's the only thing I can think of. We keep doing the same. I'll open up a restaurant. I'm going to get a franchise selling hamburgers and shoes and subs and all of this shit is services.
Yeah, it's like, but it also depends on like the economic state. Like you said earlier, if people don't got money to buy this luxury, then they're not gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? And that is gonna affect your bottom line. You know what I'm saying? When you try to an industry,
no, okay. Look at black people not supporting me.
You sell $200 joints. Like, come on. Oh no, they might buy that.
Look, I got all these big baller brands in stock. The black people ain't coming out here supporting me. We're in the middle of a recession.
Got it.
We're in the middle of a recession. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, we got to change it, man. Oh, and you know what I want? You know what? We're going to do a show tomorrow because I want to talk about Stevie Wonder and all that shit, too.
Stevie.
I want to talk about Stevie. Oh, you hear
his comments about the black people and shit. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So this is what I want to say. Stevie only said that because they got rid of Bill. That would have been Bill Cosby saying that. If Bill didn't get caught up. Rape shit.
Right.
So now Steve, straight up. And on that note, out. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the support. Smoke with the closing thing out. Say anything.